Hey guys, what is up? It is Lizzie back with a brand new video about AI. Now I know that in the past year, or honestly the past 2 years since 2022, AI has developed literally exponentially. I mean, in 2 years, the technology went so beyond what people used to think was possible. Now, for years, people have thought that AI would eventually replace people. I mean, I remember video games like Detroit Become Human, where that's the whole premise basically, is that you have these androids that replace all types of jobs. But today, I'm not actually going to make a doomer video telling you why your job is screwed and you might as well just fuck off and leave society. No. Today, I'm actually going to make a pretty positive video, and I'm going to talk about 5 jobs that generally seem to be safe from AI. Now, the first job that's actually pretty safe from AI is basically any job in the trade jobs. Basically mechanics, construction workers, plumbers, electricians. These jobs are pretty physical. You need someone to physically be there doing it, and even though maybe in the future robotics will advance that far, as of now it would just be way more expensive to replace all of these people with a robot. Next on the list is actually anybody in the medical field, basically doctors, nurses, all of that. These types of jobs are actually expected to grow in the next 10 years, as in more people will be getting these jobs, that there will be more jobs available. Now, there's lots of reasons why these are pretty safe jobs. First of all, a lot of them are very physical. You have to physically be there, showing up to look at the patients, to examine them, to talk to them, or sometimes performing surgeries on them. Robotics just really isn't there yet to where it would be equal cost, I don't think. And if the robot makes any mistake at all, sudden jerky movements, because we know that the robot's movements aren't really that smooth, if they make any mistake, a person is dead. There's a lot on the line. Another reason why I say that this job probably won't get replaced is just because of how difficult it is. The amount of schooling that doctors have to go through. I'm not saying that AI cannot really be smart, but a lot of AI thinking, at least with the language models that are out now, don't seem to be at the level where they can really understand very complex information. If you've ever tried to use your AI to do math homework for you, you know that it's not good at that. A ChatGPT, for example, can't do math, and not even difficult math. I'm not saying calculus 3, physics and calculus and shit like that. No, I'm saying high school algebra. It fucks up all the time. Now, obviously, if you were to train these models on a lot of correct medical information, it might be a different story, they might just be better at it. Maybe they can diagnose things faster. But generally, it's a job where you really have to be physically there with the people. So I think doctors are pretty safe, and on the list, doctors are ranked pretty high. They're not really likely to get replaced. If anything, it's just likely to keep growing, so yeah. Now, the next job, which is unlikely to be replaced by AI, is basically caretakers. People who take care of other people. This job is pretty common amongst people who don't really have college degrees, and it's not usually an official job. A lot of times this is just a job that someone is doing on the side to make some extra money. It's especially common with Mexicans. I mean, I know that a lot of pretty much every Mexican I knew, their parents, someone had a job taking care of old people and stuff like that. It's basically similar to being a doctor. I mean, it's not extremely high skill, but you need to be physically there taking care of the person. A lot of old people just have issues and they're confused, and you have to talk to them and guide them back basically, and manage all their shit and do whatever they tell you to do. So it's not really a job that you can just replace with ChatGPT. Plus, most of the people who hire caretakers are looking for someone who is going to like take care of them, not just like physically, but like sometimes emotionally. You know, old people can be pretty lonely. Sometimes they just want to like talk and chill with someone. So if you have like a robot, I just feel that basically a lot of people wouldn't really want to be in the presence of a robot. You usually have a caretaker when you're really old and you want to like sort of have someone take care of you and connect with them. Also, because like in America, your kids won't do that for you. So I just feel like having some fucking like cold machine made of wires like coming over, like jerking around and like bringing you food, it's not really like the vibe that these old people are going for, dude. Like, I don't know, I don't think they're going for that vibe. This is actually one of the jobs that I'm really happy isn't going to get replaced, because usually the people who work these jobs, like they actually really do need the money. It's like a job that they do on the side, not their main job. Usually it's not really like taxed, it's more like, you know. Now, the next job that I do not think is going to be replaced is basically any type of vendor job or business, like owner, an entrepreneur, whatever you want to say. Now, I think there are a lot of barriers behind this, and I'm not saying that no one who uses AI won't start a business. That's not really what I'm saying, because there are people who have kind of been replaced, like artists or marketers within businesses, but the actual owners or people selling aren't really getting replaced. This is mainly because there's not really like any incentive to, you know, like the business owners are the ones who are usually trying to cut costs. It's not usually like who employs the business person who's gonna replace them, you know what I mean? This would really only happen if there was some AI that like went rogue and just started a business like on its own, doing whatever, not programmed by anyone or anything. It just did the whole thing on its own. And then there are the types of vendors that literally, like, they're physically walking down the street selling stuff. Like, whenever you go to Mexico, whenever I go to Mexico, it's like you see all these people just walking down the street with candy, like poor people fucking like with candy, fruit, like pictures, toys, whatever, and they like knock on your window and ask if you want any, and you feel bad and you have to like pay them or whatever. Like, that's not the type of job that really most people are gonna want or really want to replace anyways. Like I said, maybe someone will design a robot and the robot just decides it has free will and they go down the street selling lollipops to make money, but I really don't see this happening at all. What's more likely is just that you're gonna be competing against people who are cutting costs by using AI. Like, they have an AI marketer, or they have an AI making YouTube videos for them. If it's that type of business, I can see someone using some AI to do the work, but they themselves aren't gonna get replaced. It's not like content creators or whatever business owners will be replaced. And when it comes to seeing vendors walking down the street and giving them money, a lot of the whole reason that people give them money, it has nothing to do with what they're selling. You don't really want the fucking like mango, you don't really want the little toy, the flag, the ring, whatever. Like, you don't want it. You do it because you know that they're in a bad situation. They're like in a third world country and they have to fucking walk down the street 12 hours a day in the sun selling toys to make probably like $20 or something. People already hate robots. They hate robots because they feel like they're replacing their jobs, and the people themselves selling the candy down the street, who knows, maybe they can't find a job because everyone's using the fucking AI. You see what I mean? Like, there's really no instance where someone is going to feel bad for a robot and give it money because it's walking down the street. That takes away the whole empathy factor. They would have to be selling a really good product just walking down the street for you to actually buy it. And I'm not saying that someone's not gonna like fucking spend hundreds of thousands of dollars building a humanoid droid to walk around all day selling little toys or whatever to make money. But there are just so many easier ways to make money, and like, you can still use AI, but there are just easier ways to go about doing it. So I just don't see any type of vendor really like losing their job over this. Even when it comes to other jobs like let's say you sell stuff, but maybe you're not walking down the street, you just like you have your store or whatever. I mean, like legally it's kind of complicated to have an AI just like renting out shit. Like, you know, is the AI just like its own thing now? Like, does the AI like rent? Does the AI decorate the store? It's like, you know what I mean? It's not like there are no just like AIs walking around really. Everything's just being used by someone. Now, the last job, which I think is basically like not going to really get replaced by AI, is jobs where you have to do some type of like supportive role basically. And I mean mostly like an emotionally supportive role. I'm saying people who are kind of like counselors, or they talk to you about your mental health, or people who maybe work at a school and like resolve the fucking conflicts and shit. Now, I want to be very clear about this distinction. I don't think this applies for all social workers. And I mainly mean with psychological jobs. If they are virtual, as in the type where you call someone like a hotline, or the type where you're basically like texting someone, then I think those actually are really likely to get replaced. Because you can't really see them anyways. They're not physically meant to be there. They're meant to give you support over the phone. Now, I think this is really likely because a lot of the people who are on these hotline things where you text them, I mean, they're not really that fucking good anyways. I've heard so many stories about people who like text them when they're about to fucking kill themselves, and the person just like, they take fucking forever to respond. They sound like a robot. They're not saying anything to them. So, I mean, if you replace that with something like ChatGPT or a language model, they'd be able to talk to the person and like respond to them immediately. In this case, this might even be beneficial for the person who's going through the crisis, because imagine you're literally about to fucking kill yourself, and the person that's supposed to like convince you not to do it is like taking 20 minutes to respond, and then like they fucking leave, or they don't say anything, they're not really listening to you. I mean, if you were to have a robot, and this robot was so advanced it could speak to you, which is actually like a thing, they can, then you'd probably feel a little bit better about. I'm not saying that you wouldn't be upset that it's not a real person, but if something seems so real, it can still serve its purpose. But when I say that I don't think they will be replaced, I mean the ones who are physically there, because normally when someone is physically there, it's just a different experience overall. You're able to really interact with them and probably feel way more heard than you would on the phone anyways. So usually people who are going to see a therapist in person, they're looking for that physical connection, and it's completely absent if it was an AI. Like I said, unless you could just build a humanoid, and the humanoid was less expensive than just hiring a therapist. Even then, I can't help but feel that the uncanny nature of the robot and how it would speak and move and just look overall would throw people off. Alright guys, that's all for today. I really did enjoy making this video. I always love to talk about like AI and just technology in general. I think it's all really cool, but I've seen a lot of people really afraid of AI on YouTube, especially all these videos about people talking about what jobs are going to be gone, and I kind of wanted to offer a different perspective. Like, I don't think that AI is really like going to ruin everything, you know, like I don't think it is. And I felt like, you know, like a video about, well, like which jobs are safe from AI would be a pretty good one to make, because there are lots of jobs that are safe from AI, and I feel like a lot of people think on emotion rather than the logic. A lot of jobs, it makes more sense to have it be a person. If you guys like these types of videos or like this type of content, definitely let me know, because I would really like to make more of it. And you know, I might even make another video about jobs that are also safe from AI, because these are definitely not the only ones. These are just the ones that I could think of and find on the list. And you know, these jobs that I sort of knew a little bit more about, and I could speak to why they wouldn't be replaced by AI. Anyway, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Yeah, bye.